Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm your host, Adrian M. Gibson, and you're listening to episode 1 of SFF Addicts. The very first episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. The fact that you're hearing my voice right now means so much to me, and I can't wait to tell you more about this podcast and what's in store for the future. So, what is SFF Addicts, and who am I? Well, I'll tell you. But first, a quick word about our sponsor. This episode of SFF Addicts is brought to you by the amazing folks at The Broken Binding. They live to serve all of your fantasy and sci-fi needs with signed books, reprints, and the most amazing gift wrapping you could ever ask for. Make sure to visit them at thebrokenbinding.co.uk and tell them that the FFA crew sent you. And if you use the code FanFi, F-A-N-F-I, at checkout, you'll receive 5% off your next order. Now, back to SFF Addicts. So what is it? Well, it's a bi-weekly panel podcast featuring writers from the book blog FanFiAddict, along with guest authors, publishing professionals, bloggers, and more. Each panel episode will bring together a handful of fascinating and talented people to chat about science fiction and fantasy, writing craft, as well as the occasional jaunt into the wider SFF industry and market. Every 2 weeks on Tuesday mornings, numbered episodes of the show will drop into your podcast feed. These episodes, hosted by yours truly, will feature a gathering of authors and/or industry folks discussing a given topic or theme that they're intimately familiar with. As well, every few episodes will have a panel comprised entirely of FanFiAddict team members, chatting about the books we love or some aspect of the industry we're interested in. For the author industry panels, the topics we've got in store run the gamut from self-publishing and food and fantasy to climate change, music and SFF, independent publishing, and so much more. And for the FanFiAddict panels, we'll be digging into things like YA versus adult SFF, our favorite fantasy and sci-fi books and series, the best and worst tropes in SFF, and a big ol' heap of other cool topics. I'm so excited for what's coming on SFF Addicts, and I can't wait for all of you to hear it. What's more, we'll have lots and lots of awesome bonus content, such as author interviews, including interviews that I myself have done, as well as interviews from other members of the FanFiAddict team, book, TV, and film club discussions, and much, much more. And that leaves me, Adrian M. Gibson. So who am I? And why are you listening to me? Well, I'm a book blogger, aspiring sci-fi writer, illustrator, and former tattoo artist. But that's not much to convince you why you should listen to this show. In reality, I've wanted to do a podcast for a long time, but I never had the courage to do so, nor the topic to invest in. That all changed when I joined FanFiAddict. The blog's founder, David Walters, opened the door to a whole new world for me, introducing me to the plethora of talented writers at FanFiAddict, but also the science fiction and fantasy industry as a whole. I've met incredibly gifted and kind-hearted authors, interviewed several of them, and gotten a sneak peek at what this world has to offer. Not only that, I'm seeing books in a whole new way, reading them with a critical eye that both embraces the joy and magic of reading, as well as the technical skills involved in creating a story such as these. I love sci-fi and fantasy. I always have. And I finally feel like I've found a home and a community where I can let that love run wild. And for everything that I've received from this community, my newfound perspective has given me the desire and passion to take things a step further. And so, SFF Addicts was born. It's my way of giving back to the science fiction and fantasy community, to spread the love amongst people whose talent deserves to be recognized, and to provide the platform for fruitful discussions to blossom. Along with everyone at FanFiAddict, the reviews and essays they write, the Q&As and interviews and blog tours they do, simply the time that they invest in something that they're passionate about. This is another way to show the world, to whoever listens to this podcast, how freaking awesome science fiction and fantasy are. Now, I've learned to embrace the things I love, and I hope by listening, you will too. So, there we have it. Thanks for listening. I hope you got a good sense of what SFF Addicts will be like, and what you can expect going forward. Myself and the rest of the FanFiAddict team are so happy you decided to listen, and that alone is a big show of support. If you like this episode and want to take your support even further, please subscribe, rate and review us on your platform of choice, and share us with your friends. You can also follow SFF Addicts on Twitter or Instagram at SFF Addicts Pod for updates and more. And you can follow me, Adrian M. Gibson, on Twitter or Instagram at Adrian M. Gibson. SFF Addicts is part of FanFiAddict.com, so make sure to check us out there for the latest in book reviews, essays, and all things sci-fi and fantasy, as well as the full episode archive for the podcast. And, for all your literature needs, head over to thebrokenbinding.co.uk. Now, keep reading, keep imagining, and we'll see you next time on SFF Addicts.